Welcome to our first of the fall season 2020 Body, Mind, and Soul Health Ministry presentation. Of course, it's a different time now with the COVID-19, and so we're going to have a special delight for our ministry. We're going to help you learn about delicious foods that will comfort your soul and comfort your body. Our Chef Mark Bartell, is going to be inviting us into his home kitchen. And there you will get to see him make a number of recipes. You can pause your video or your tape if you need to write anything down, and you're going to be having your mouth water because of it. We always like to have Body, Mind, and Soul for different topics, and this is one for today. At the end of his presentation, I'll tell you about our next topic. Welcome to Westminster by the Sea's Body, Mind, and Soul Health Ministry.
Hi folks, I'm Chef Mark Bartell. Thank you for joining us today. As you can see, I'm here at my house today, cooking. I'm going to show you a few dishes while we're getting through the coronavirus together. So let me start on a couple egg dishes, if I may. All right, what I've got here is my little cast iron frying pan heating up. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in there. And I'm going to put a little bit of butter in there. I'm going to wait a second on the butter, let it get a little hot, okay? And then I'm coming to you. I've got some nice little items here that we're going to add to that egg. So here's what we're going to do. I've got some fresh spinach. I'm going to cut it up just a little bit. Got some beautiful tomatoes. I washed them earlier. Different colors. Different shapes. Kind of trying to give it a nice little look here, this dish. Okay? Now, star of the show is hopefully the egg. So I've got my butter going in. Doesn't appear to be hot enough yet. I want to let it bubble just for a second. Get a little action going there before I add that egg. Wish I had turned it on earlier for you. Okay, and I got some feta cheese here. Come on and get hot. Come on and get hot. Let me get my plate ready while we're waiting. Okay. Get an egg in there. Okay, looks good. See our little eggy? Oh yeah. We're gonna let it cook up a little bit though. Gotta let it get a little sizzling going. You really want sizzling going on. Keep an eye on this while I'm just doing something for the next round. Just keep an eye on that. This is the next dish. I'm just trying to save some time, so getting this going. All right, good. Now, I like my egg, okay? And in a minute, what I'm gonna do to this simple little egg, you can see I use the black cast iron frying pan. I got another one here. These are pretty much just for eggs so that they'll slide like that, okay? They won't stick. Put a little salt on there. A little crushed pepper on there, okay? Then what I'll do is I'll bring it to you so you can see a little bit better. Then I'm gonna put some spinach in there, some tomato. Now my goal is to not do too much and make it crazy. It's just a little compliment. All this stuff's just a nice little compliment to the dish, okay? So we started our egg first. Now what I gotta do is put a little water in there. I have a tablespoon here, and I don't normally deal with tablespoons, but I'm measuring it out for you. You can hear the sizzle, okay? Now I'm gonna turn this down a little bit, just let it cook. So it's all covered, and it's cooking from the bottom up. It's almost like doing an open-faced omelet. And this is gonna be a little bit of a garnish. A little bit of scallion. Don't want to go too crazy on the garnish. Now the only thing I gotta do, cook that yolk a little bit more. I'm actually turning the burner off. I think I have enough heat. I'm gonna let it take its time. Okay. goes good with an egg that I should have thought of earlier. Piece of toast. In our little toaster oven. Tuck that back there for now. Okay. This white plate kind of blends in with the egg a little bit. There you go. Nice little egg. Okay? That's a basted egg, nice and healthy. So what we've just done is taken one egg and add a little more nutrition to it. Okay, we're waiting on our toast, and while we're waiting on our toast, we'll go on to another egg dish. This one's gonna be poached. And I think you can see that I'm pretty serious about my eggs, because I've got my handy dandy egg poacher here. Okay. Here's my bigger one. Here's my little one. Okay. Now, poached eggs. I think I'll keep them both on this side. Because along with that poached egg, you're not missing anything there. Okay. While we have a second, it's an opportunity to maybe add a little garnish on our breakfast plate. And we've got the toast coming in a second. Okay. Poached eggs. Let's put these on. Boom. Boom. Toast is cooking. Putting a little bit of this veggie spray in these pans. If you don't have veggie spray, you do need a little oil in these so they don't stick on you. And I think you can see our nice hot, it's so hot that I'm going to turn it down a pinch. Okay, so for the poached eggs, I'm trying to make one of them a little fancier than the other. So let's do this. Because eggs don't always have to be eaten early in the morning. They can be a brunch item. They can be a dinner item. So what I'm gonna do, I have a little piece of salmon that I bought yesterday. Okay. Keep my hands getting washed. And I'm gonna put a little seasoning on. This is like a little sriracha seasoning. You don't have to get the sriracha. Could be just salt and pepper. I think I put the sriracha on so that hopefully we'll get a little bit of that red color, helping to brown the salmon a little bit more. You're finding that I like butter, so I'm gonna put a pinch more butter in there. Good. I like that sizzle. I'm gonna redo my spatula. All right. So, we're gonna get the salmon going. That's the sound that you want to hear. And we got our pans. I gotta get the lids on. Lid number 1, lid number 2. Okay. I didn't get salmon on that cutting board, so I'm gonna keep using the cutting board a little bit. Okay. So, real simple on the salmon. It's like a little 3-ounce piece, maybe 2.5 ounces. You can see this one's starting to boil back here or get hot. Oh yeah, it's boiling. Yeah, it happens quick. These pans get hot quick. Let me flip this. And let me get 1 egg in here. Here's 1 egg. Let me get a couple in the next one. As you can see, you can handle 4 of them. And I'm going to just do 3 of them. 2 there, 1 there. Okay, I'm going to turn that salmon down a little bit. Ooh, got my toast going. For that first dish. Throw a little butter on there. Cut that baby up. Sounds a little crunchy, and I kind of like crunchy toast. So it took us a minute, and I wouldn't have done it in quite that order, but that meal's kind of finished off. All right, now, got our egg poaching. I can see, I haven't used that in a while. I might have put too much water in that pan. I'm gonna turn it down. Okay, they're poaching. Salmon's about done. Now it's time for me to start thinking about plating these dishes in. Okay. I washed it earlier, but just for our viewers, I'll wash it off here. So salmon, pretty much done. Well, it's hard to believe it's going to cook that quick, but it does. Eggs taking their time. That one's getting a little closer. I'll be with you showing those a little closer in a minute. I have a little sauteed spinach here that I sauteed a little earlier. And when we get to another part of the show, I'll show you what I did with it, how I sauteed it. But just to make this dish happen, I got one done a little bit earlier. Okay? Ooh, that egg's getting close. When I say this egg's getting close, see it's still raw? A little raw still. Everybody likes their poached eggs cooked a little bit differently, if not differently, a little more well done, I should say, okay? So, got some tomato and spinach there. Got some spinach there that I'm gonna marry this salmon onto, okay? And as you can see, these are all waiting for poached egg at this point, okay? So we'll give it another minute. See that nice heat? That's what you want. You can always pull back. Another minute. I don't like my egg too runny, so I'm gonna just keep you waiting for a minute. Okay? I'm gonna put all this with my little leftovers over here. You can kind of ignore that. And I think I have a fleeting second to throw a little soap on this cutting board. Okay. I can't see what's going on, but I can feel what's going on. So I don't overcook them after all that. Let me slide them away. I think we're going to be there. Okay. Oh yeah. Gotta use that. These ended up cooking quicker. That's a good thing. So I'll just use this. Okay. So, egg number 1. Simple. Somebody just wants, ooh, I just cracked it a little bit. They better eat this one quick. Okay. See the yolk breaking out of there a little bit? That's why I always make an extra one, because I'll probably be the guy eating a cracked one. And here's this beautiful one here. This little egg poacher I actually bought from my dad when I found that he was poaching eggs, or like soft boiled eggs. I bought this for him. There you go. Get on there, cooperate. Yeah, there you go. All right, and you too. Let's cooperate here. Let's see. Yeah, I haven't used this in a while, but I think it's gonna work out. Yeah, it is good. Okay, now, can I hit it with a little pinch of olive oil? Just a little bit. A little pepper. A little salt. And I have some cilantro. That's going a little extra on the cilantro. And I washed this a little earlier. I rinsed it off because it says please rinse. So we'll throw this on there, wake that one up a little bit. Don't pay too much attention to the one that's broken. We'll regroup. So while we're doing that, let me bring something else up. It's always good to brighten your table, maybe with a little bit of flowers. Maybe one person gets one napkin. Maybe one person gets a paper napkin sitting at the lounge here. Maybe we'll give this person their teaspoon, tell them to start eating quick, because that egg's going a little south. And on those napkins, I have to bring over the one that is hand embroidered. Look at how pretty that is. Yeah, look at how pretty that is. So when you come and you're sitting at a table like that, I think you'd be pretty happy. Okay, our next item is gonna be a quiche. We're gonna do an asparagus spinach quiche. Everything's gonna be nice and fresh. So let me get started. I've got some asparagus here. And what I'm gonna do, I took one of the rubber bands off. I cut a little of the end off. Probably should have left it for you to see. But anyway, what I'm doing, there's several ways you can do it, but the reason I'm doing it like this, I'm trying to get every bit of flavor out of this asparagus versus say like if you boil them in water or steam them or something, maybe you lose a little bit of flavor. So anyway, I'm cutting them nice and small, okay? Now down towards the tail here, they tend to get a little bit fibrous. Let me move those into two bundles. I'm gonna get a little bit more off of here because we, pay good money for them, so you want to use a fair amount. But I probably, once it starts cutting a little hard, I'm gonna stop. And that last little bit, I can't use, okay? We're gonna do the same with these. Now you gotta cook the asparagus. You gotta cook what you have in a quiche. You can make any kind of quiche. The items that go into the quiche should be cooked, okay? So, got another frying pan here. Cast iron frying pan, getting some oil in there. I want to get some butter in there too. Give this some nice flavor, okay? Give it a little bit more, okay, so. Gotta turn that up. It's not quite as hot as I want. See that? It should be rumbling a little bit, okay? So I'm gonna let that get a little hotter. While I'm doing that, we're gonna work on the dough. The dough, I've got butter, some cream cheese, and I'll show you the rest in a minute. On the butter, I left it out for the most part today, but if you need to zap it for just a few minutes to soften it, you don't wanna melt it down too much. But just to soften it a little bit, so that when we make our dough, see how it just melted just a pinch? That's like great. That's good stuff, okay? So now, we're gonna get our asparagus in. I don't hear any sizzle. That means I should have had the heat up a little bit more, but we'll be fine, okay? Let's put that to the side. We're gonna let the asparagus get cooked. And when the asparagus are almost done, that's when I'm gonna add the spinach, okay? So, let's do this. Got a few bowls here for this quiche. Don't know exactly how many of each I'm gonna need. I don't think I need that one, even though it's very fancy. Okay. I'm gonna do it in a big bowl here. So, there's our butter. That was 2 ounces of butter. Okay. And it's about 1 ounce of cream cheese. Nice soft cream cheese. Okay. you don't have cream cheese and you want to go with 3 ounces of butter, go right ahead, okay? Hear that nice sizzle? That's music to our ears right there, that sizzle. Okay, I have misplaced the salt. So we'll go without it for now. Okay. So into the bowl we got our butter and our cream cheese. And I need approximately 1 cup of flour. Okay? Regular all-purpose flour. Okay, give or take a tablespoon or so. It's about a cup, yeah, that's good. Okay, gotta put this to the side. We hear that nice sizzling sound. That's what we want, because we want to get these asparagus cooked. Also, I set my temperature at 350, so the oven's set at 350. Our asparagus are very happy. You can hear them making that noise. And since I'm doing 2 things at once, I just turn it down a little bit. Okay. Now, with this fork, I'm going to mix this in. It's a nice soft dough. Needs a little sugar in there. Yeah, it does. Like a good rounded teaspoon of sugar, just to give it just a pinch of a different flavor when they bite into it. Okay? And a little bit of salt. Okay. The asparagus are going great. Okay, they're cooked enough. See them right there? You can smell them, they're really good. And this is a 5-ounce container of spinach. You don't need all of it. I made one yesterday and I used about half of the package. It could handle the full package, I'll bet, but anyway, I decided to go with half, okay? Trying to give an even mixture. And earlier when I had the spinach for the eggs, I was telling you how you saute the spinach. Well, if we didn't have the asparagus in there, this is how we would do the spinach by itself, okay? But anyway, what we're gonna do is let that cook a little bit. So the spinach is cooked. I think I can turn this off and it'll carry over cook. All right, so here we go with our dough. It's just about mixed. It is. What I'll do is just make sure my hands are good and clean. They are. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, with my beautiful clean hands, oops, no big deal. You don't have to cut that because it happens. I'm just going to slide this into here for now. If you want to cool this in the fridge for a little bit, you can if you're afraid, you know, the eggs. Or if you add it to the cheese too hot, it might melt it, but I think we're gonna be fine. Yesterday I threw it in the refrigerator for a few minutes, but by the time I really get to it, I think we'll be fine, okay? So here's our dough. Okay. And here are the pans that I use. Picked this up at a yard sale the other day for like $2. And the reason I say that is I made one of these for a friend who had just come out of surgery, and I wasn't expecting to get it back. I just wanted to give it as a gift, and I did, but I ended up getting the pan back. All right, so now I got a little flour in my hands, just so that it doesn't stick on me, okay? Flour keeps it from sticking to your fingers. A little bit more. And yes, you gotta come up the sides a little bit, just like a pie. But I think you'll be real happy with this dough. It's not hard to make, as you can see it. I wanted to make sure I didn't bring out a mixing machine and make it really intense. I wanna encourage you to try it. It's pretty simple. It works good, this dough, okay? I think I'm taking a little bit too much time on this dough, but so be it. Okay, so we have our dough. I come up about halfway on the sides, okay? Gonna give my hands a rinse again, okay? We're gonna put 3 cheeses in here, 3 kinds. It's really more than 3, but I mean, when I say, like this is a Mexican cheese that has 4 different varieties in it, okay? And that's about a half a cup, okay? Then we're gonna put some Parmesan cheese. We're gonna put a decent amount. We're getting some nice salt from the Parmesan, okay? One more little Parmesan, doesn't hurt, okay? And then, feta cheese. Don't be caught without your feta cheese during the virus. You can do so many things with the feta cheese, okay? So we're kind of playing it by eye. If I would say, you know, like 1/3 of a cup on the Parmesan and the feta, maybe even a half a cup on the cheddar blend, okay? So there it all is. And just before I add this, I can see a little smoke still coming up on it. It's a little warm, so I'll take the time now to make the egg mix, okay? 1, 2, 3. I keep glancing around to see if I can figure out what I did with my salt shaker, but since I can't find it, I'm just gonna move on. Okay, so I got 3 eggs and my salt shaker. Good, I feel a lot better about that. Okay, I wanna get a little salt in there. Okay, maybe more than a little bit. Nutmeg. Ever since I was taught how to make quiche, I've always put a little nutmeg in there. I'd say it's like a 1/4 of a teaspoon or whatever. And so here's our eggs with some salt and some nutmeg, okay? For each egg, you need approximately 1/4 of a cup of cream, milk. And what I did was, I'm not using this today, I'll be right back to the camera. But I went out and bought, my grandmother used to use evaporated milk for everything. There's some evaporated milk. This is how they sell milk these days. So you can make, if you have your eggs, eggs and cheese, you can make quiche at any time because there's always some kind of milk product that you can find. All right, well anyway, this is our, I'm using heavy cream because it's like the Cadillac, okay? So there's our 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream. If I don't have heavy cream, sometimes I'll use my coffee cream, milk, but heavy cream is a good way to go. It makes it a little bit richer, okay? So we've got everything in there. The juice from all this is fine, okay? You can still see the steam coming up. I'm not worried about it, okay? Not worried about it. It's not so hot that it's gonna like curdle the eggs or anything. And then I'll try to bring it towards you a little bit. And yes, I use my hands when I cook. That's just who I am. If you were to watch me in the kitchen all the time, you'll see that I'm constantly washing my hands. My quiche, I use a lot of guts in it, a lot of fill. I want a spinach quiche or spinach and asparagus quiche to taste every biteful of the asparagus and the spinach, okay? So I'm gonna wash my hands and we're gonna put this into the oven. Let me get rid of this, good for you, take another picture of that. And I got a 350 oven on this, okay? And it's gonna go in that 350 oven, trust me, for 45 minutes. That's what it's gonna take. Because yesterday, I baked it up and it took 45 minutes. You'll know, it'll be a beautiful golden brown when you see it. And what I'll do, just so we don't have to come back to this later, perhaps we'll show you the finished product, but if we can't, I'll show you the finished product right now, okay? It's from yesterday. And I took a few pictures of our quiche so we could at least give you a look at the final product. But anyway, here's our quiche, okay? So today, maybe give it 45 seconds. When I made yesterday's, it was my intention to pull it out and show it to you whole, but we just couldn't hold back. We had to try it. Okay, getting close. Got some carambola star fruit. Got some navel orange here. Okay, looks nice. Let's do this. Put a few oranges. Put a couple of star fruit. I have a strawberry and another star fruit. We can add a little extra garnish on that. And that's our nice quiche right there. It tastes good. I think you'll like it. Okay, folks, we're gonna make 2 dishes here at the same time. One of them is gonna be home fried potatoes, okay? And I know it's a simple little dish, but I just wanna say, if we get a pan of home fries going at our house, and people are coming and going during the day, which tends to happen, when they walk in and smell the potatoes are cooking, everyone's happy. And these are just some beautiful little potatoes, okay? That'll keep for a good long time. You know, you could keep them in the fridge. I mean, you're probably talking a good couple months. And what I'm doing, I got a little knife here. Some people call it a tourneing knife. And these are paring knives, and these are paring knives. But I like this little tourne knife. It's easier than using a potato peeler, okay? So, yes, I'm peeling the potatoes. I guess a nice family project's to tell someone, hey, you peel the potatoes and then I'll take it from here if you want to involve somebody helping you. But anyway, so I don't mind peeling the potatoes, you know? It's kind of a fun little chore. You can see your final destination coming with the nice home fries being made, so peeling and dicing potatoes, no problem. Now, what I'm gonna do, I got a nice little, what I call a saw knife here. And they don't have to be cut in any, you know, fancy way. Just not too small, not too small. Kind of medium-sized bites. See, I cut that piece off, so now I roll it down rather than dealing with the rolling potato. Put it flat down. Give it a couple of cuts, okay? All right, now, just so that I wouldn't spend the whole day showing you how to peel potatoes, I peeled some ahead of time. And what I've got here is a little steamer, okay? This is the steamer that's been in the family for the longest time. And when I knew I was gonna do the show, see how it's missing a little doohickey and one of these things is off? I went out at a thrift store and got this one, okay? So here's our potatoes. And here's some of the ones that I did a little bit earlier. So you probably got 6 decent sized potatoes, okay? And we're gonna get them into the steamer, okay? So there they go, approximately 9 minutes. Okay, now, we need a little bit of potatoes for the next dish, which is beef stew. Another item that I make at the house here, pretty decent amount, is beef stew. And again, everybody loves it. So these potatoes are gonna be for the stew, okay? Let's just say 3 pretty good sized potatoes, okay? Now, put that to the side. The first and most important thing on the beef stew is getting this stew meat going, okay? So, nice stew meat. I paid $5.66 for this, okay? I always look for like the smallest package of stew meat they have. We like beef, but we also just like the broth and all the vegetables that are in it. So, I'm gonna get some salt in there because it definitely needs some salt. When they bite into the chunk of beef, it has to have a little bit of flavor from the salt and pepper. A little bit of pepper here. And we have that little bit of sriracha, or you could use like a paprika if you want. You could use a little bit of chili powder if you prefer, okay? But anyway, there we go. And to it, we're gonna add about 1/4 cup, maybe 1/3 cup flour. The reason for the flour is it helps as a thickening agent, okay? So when I get through adding the meat, whatever bit of flour's left, I'm getting it into the pan. Now, meat, dirty hands. Let's get myself cleaned up here, okay? All right. None of the meat hit the cutting board, okay? What I'm gonna do, you can see the smoke coming up. That's pretty hot. Wouldn't you agree that's pretty hot? We're gonna have some searing going on here in a minute. So let's get that meat in. The meat can handle it. Okay, hear that fire? Hear that sizzle? You need it. You're trying to sear the meat, you know? Let me get rid of this pan here. You can hear it, you can see it. I'm not gonna put the fan on today because I don't wanna disrupt my talking. Getting a little more oil in here because I can see that it needs it. There's more flour, so I got a little more oil in there. And in a minute, I'll show you a close-up of this, okay? Now, I got some carrots here that you can peel many different ways, and I know this is a little bit silly, but it works. I'm just trying to get a little bit of the outside dirt off of them or whatever might be on them. So I cleaned them with my scrub pad. There they are, okay? Now, let's get a nice big spoon out here. You're trying to get some caramelization. See the caramelization you're trying to get here? See that? That's what you want, okay? Now, that's caramelizing. Let's get a little onion going. You saw what the size of the meat was, so they don't have to be too small, the onions. Keep everything kind of in the same size. Actually, if I had it to do over again, I would have cut that meat a little smaller. I think just because I'm doing it here in front of the camera, I wanted to get the show on the road, but really, I usually take a little bit more time to cut the meat a little bit smaller so you get a little bit better yield out of it. But with that said, we got what we got here right now. Carrots, kind of getting through them. I might be a little heavy in the carrot, but we're gonna go that way, okay? All right, now the meat got some nice caramelization to it. I'll show you one more time. See that? It's all good stuff. We're building up some good flavor. Get some carrot, get some onion. I've got a little bit of garlic here. Garlic in the stew is super good. Okay, here we go. Our potatoes, they look very happy over here. See them? Yep, you're doing good. Okay. Now, this corn, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna cut it off the cob, and you're probably gonna be better breaking it in half first so you don't cut your fingers while you're cutting this. But I'm using some fresh corn. But what I want to say on the corn, you can use canned corn, you can use frozen corn. And quite frankly, I'm going to pull out my frozen corn here in a minute. Why did I do this? Because if you can use a real corn, then you're just getting a little more flavor out of that corn cob. And we're trying to pull every flavor that we can into the soup, okay? So basically, almost everything's in that stew right now. I call it soup, stew, okay? Mixing this around. Oh, forgot to put a little bit of celery. It's not that important, but it gives it a little more flavor. I'm gonna throw my celery in, okay? I cut the celery pretty small. That's one thing I kind of hide in there. And why is the celery important? A little more flavor, a little more texture. It helps, okay? A little bit. So if you have it, add it. If you don't, you're okay. Now, what I want to do, I have an organic vegetable broth and an organic chicken broth. I'm going to use vegetable broth today. And you can hear it. It's going to the bottom and it's clearing up all that, pulling up all that nice caramelization from the meat. Okay? Oh yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Then I've got canned, diced tomatoes. I'm not promoting any type of brand really. Then we have a little, yes, bottled spaghetti sauce. We all carry it, even chefs do. And I think today, because my daughter got me this shirt, I don't want to open it up and get some speckles on this nice white shirt, but in reality, I tried to buy a smaller can. This is like a 15 ounce. I tried to get the smaller one and they were sold out. So anyway, I bought that. You don't have to use that much. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna use this as my tomato product today, okay? The marinara sauce. Just to show you whatever you got in the house for tomatoes. You could use fresh tomatoes if you want, canned tomatoes, spaghetti sauce, whatever you got in the house, okay? And then, here's that corn I was telling you about, a nice organic frozen corn. It's really good. I'm gonna add, I normally add a full thing, and I'm going just a little bit less because I got some of the fresh in there, okay? Now, beef stew, okay? What we've got to do at this point, stew it, steam it, braise it, okay? So what we're gonna do, this soup now needs to cook for an hour and 15 minutes. Sometimes it's done in an hour, but I'll say an hour and 15 minutes. The determining point, when is the beef tender, okay? So that's the thing that's gonna tell you if the beef stew's done, is when it's tender, okay? Now, let me clean this up a little bit. And is that my timer on the potatoes? Thank you, helpers. Thank you. Got some great helpers here. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this lid off. And I'm gonna pull this over to you so you can see what's going on. Now, these are like 80% done. And you can do this dish long as they're at least 70% done, these potatoes, okay? But those are good 80, maybe even 90% done. We're gonna let them sit for a minute. While they're sitting, I'm going to take some of this beef stew that I made yesterday, the same stuff that we've got there. I'm gonna heat it a little bit. Got a couple little peas for green color. not necessary. I don't normally put them in, but I'm putting them in today just for a little bit more color. You can see our corn cob floating around here. Just trying to get some flavor out of it, okay? Beef, it's gonna be a beautiful stew. It's gonna take a while. So I want you to see what's happening here. See the steam coming off of this pan? I'm gonna go backward. That's gonna be our potato pan. We're making some good progress here. We're getting real close. Probably needs to be a little hotter than that, but just for the televised version of the whole thing. There's a beautiful beef stew. And the way we're gonna present it is actually in this bowl. I like this bowl a little bit better. So that's a beautiful beef stew. And it's so easy. And I put up here earlier today, here it is. Here's the other nice thing about a beef stew. The other real nice thing about a beef stew is when you can do this. When you can get a little container to go and give it to someone as a gift. That's a great thing too. So we're always looking for, hey, there's one to go. There's one for here. A little French bread, you're up and running. We're gonna still keep an eye on this, and we're gonna come to these potatoes. So got a beautiful thick cast iron pan, okay? Coming down the home stretch. Got these potatoes here, okay? What you don't want to do on the potatoes, do not start running some cold water over them. Do not try to cool them down, no. You add water to them and you're just gonna have a splash of water going in there. The reason I steamed them, trying to keep them as dry as possible. They're steamed by moisture, but they're not drowning in water. So there they are. And back to that little sriracha that I haven't been pronouncing too well today. Some salt. Pretty good amount of salt. I'll let you add a little more at the end, but it can take some salt, okay? And a little bit of pepper. If you don't have the sriracha, oops, see that? It's good, and then you gotta watch at the same time. I've got a little paprika here, and I got a little chili powder, so those are options. I don't wanna go too crazy on the spices, but if you don't have, you need something that has just a little pinch of red in it, just to help them brown, maybe a pinch. And so like I said, there's like a little paprika too, but anyway. So, what I gotta do now, is get some olive oil in there. You gotta have a decent amount. It's gotta somewhat float. There's probably 1/3 of a cup of olive oil in there, and you're gonna hear a little, so, you know, kind of let it walk its way in. That's the sound we're looking for. That's a fantastic sound right there. Yep. Now I'm going way up high for a minute, okay? Way up high, and one of the tough things is just trying to forget about those potatoes. Just let them do their thing. While I'm looking for that'll be very important in a little bit. Okay. Everything that I've made, I've kind of given a little test run here lately. The last time I made these, I added some onions, which you're welcome to do. I'm not going to do it today, but we're trying to get some color. You can see some heat, some smoke going on. All right, I'm going to come down to like a medium temperature. Still trying not to stir them, because I always found that the best browning is usually that first browning. Okay? And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to look for something to serve these on. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They take, about 10 minutes to steam and another 10 minutes to cook. If you get a rotisserie chicken from the store or something, you want a little side dish, these are great. If you have a nice salad and you want something to eat with it, they're great. So anyway, I want to give them a little bit more to go. And I'm going to serve you a single portion and kind of like a platter style. And I'm looking to see if I can put a little garnish on them. It's not really necessary, but let me just look in here for a minute. See if we got some little bit of parsley. We do. I usually don't put parsley on them. My family would probably go, "What's going on with the parsley today?" Well, I got to be a little bit fancier today. And I got some scallion here. So even though I did not add onions, I could just do a little bit of a cheat by throwing a little onion flavor on them at the end with these scallions. So they're almost there. I'm just going to let it go another second. So back to the stew. It's a one-pot deal, okay? You just got to let it simmer. And that's an art itself. There's going to come a time here where I'm going to be able to put it on a real low temperature, just let it go. I still come back about every 20 minutes and check on it. And oh my goodness, our quiche looks like it's going to be about ready. So this is going to work out really good. All right. So I got my ketchup there. I'm going to turn these off. And sometimes I never take them out of the pan. My girls, they'll come up here, my wife, and they'll come up here and just take them right out of this pan. Okay? So, give that a second. Let's do this. A little bit of parsley, a little bit of scallion. Here's one. Let's go on to the. Hey, you know what? Here's how I'm going to do the second batch. Gonna do just. I'll let you see that beautiful black cast iron frying pan. Okay, there's those. You can tell they're hot. Okay, and then I think I can fit my quiche in right down at the end. Oh, this makes me so happy that it's done. Can you see it down there, Tristan? I'm bringing it to y'all. Here we go. Okay. Like that. Ooh, that's hot. That baby's hot out of the oven. And tasting good. All right, folks. Well, I just want to say thank you so much. Show's not over yet. Reverend Sumner has a little closing statement to make, something he wants to say goodbye to y'all too. So if you'd hang in there for that, it'd be great. Thank you for tuning in.
Wasn't that delicious? The egg dishes, the stew, oh my goodness, so many delicious foods. We so thank Chef Mark Bartell for starting off our Body, Mind, and Soul Health Ministry with such delicious foods. Later this month, on Tuesday, October 27th, at 10 a.m. and then later at 7 p.m., you'll get to hear Dr. Dan Hale. He was professor of psychology at Stetson University, and he is now the advisor to the president of Johns Hopkins Medical Center Bayview. He's written a book on depression. It's a professional view and a personal view, how depression has impacted him and how he brings his skills and his training into this topic during this pandemic time. You're welcome to order the book. We have information on our Church Spire, which is our newsletter, or you can call the office and we can give the information. But the book would be helpful to have in front of you because that will be the main point of his discussion. But if you just want to hear the topic, you're welcome to join us too. They're identical presentations, one at 10 a.m. on October 27th and one at 7 p.m. October 27th. We hope you can join us.